What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the program. Day 9 of training camp is officially done here. San Francisco 49ers had probably their best practice, honestly, to date. Day 9 is complete, and now we're here to break it down. A little later of a show, but still, nonetheless, we get one here on Saturday evening. Hope everyone's enjoying their Saturday. Obviously, a lot going on. You've got the Olympics, a couple of MMA events, you've got boxing, you've got this and that. And obviously, 49ers training camp was there again this morning. And I got to say, this was the longest one to date. Practice went till about 12:30, around 2.5 hours. And there was a lot of stuff that got done. So let's unpack it all. We're going to think about doing this one a little differently. Going to talk about the team periods, talk about the move the ball session, and then go from there and talk about the overall takeaways from the day with all of the different position groups. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you're on Twitter, hop on over to YouTube, show me some love, get me, a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's get on to it. Team periods had a bit of a different vibe. Team periods, meaning the 11 on 11 sessions of the day, thought that they were, up and down for both sides. I thought both sides had their fair share of moments. And to start it off with the offense, I thought it was a little bit of a slower start necessarily, as there were a couple of more runs. Brock Purdy only had one pass in his first series of plays, just a short gain to Eric Sober off play action. He was wide open, probably gets 7 to 10 yards. And then after that, as you get through these first few team periods, it's more run incorporated, like I said. Elijah Mitchell had a run, had a nice stiff arm on who I believe was Deommodore Lenoir. You gave Christian McCaffrey a touch, then you move it forward with the second team. Some small takeaways. Actually, I'll get to the takeaways afterwards. As you go on with the team periods, Brock Purdy's next set of plays, there was a little bit of a hiccup. After a McCaffrey run, that one didn't get too much. The defense was there. There was also a flag thrown against the offense. Brock Purdy got his second pass of the day, and this one was an interception to Jair Brown. And this one was an interesting play. Ricky Pearsall was the intended receiver. Purdy drops back, normal drop back, and good protection. He had plenty of time. He was looking for somewhere to throw the football, and frankly, nobody was open. Then, as has been the case, usually in practice, when no one's open, this is where Purdy tries to test things, tries to see if he could fit throws through open windows. After all, that's what practice is about. Seeing, can you fit this ball in? How would this pass work so that you know what the best option is for the game? Pearsall was working against Deommodore Lenoir. Seemed like he either got tripped up or got jammed up as he was coming out of his break. Really couldn't get that much separation. Lenoir was all over him. Purdy tries to fit in a ball. The ball is a little wide. Hits Pearsall outstretches his hands, but it hits off the fingertips of his hands. Tips up. Jair Brown gets the interception here. So you can take that interception kind of as you may. I wasn't too necessarily worried about that one, but that one was a pick. And one of the plays advantaged the defense primarily just because their coverage all around was great. Purdy had the time to throw it, but didn't have a place necessarily to throw that football. That was his lone throw of that series of plays. Then as you go forward, Purdy starts, you start to get a little bit more passing after a first run of the play on his next series for Christian McCaffrey. Purdy got good protection again, found George Kittle for a short pass. He was running a short crosser, hits him. Then he found Christian McCaffrey. This one was, a quick ball. McCaffrey flexed out as a receiver. They had Deebo Samuel in the backfield on this one. Purdy, he senses what's coming with the defense. He gets the ball out quick. McCaffrey gets a solid gain on that one. So start to see a little shift of practice. Then with the second team offense, there was a bit of a scuffle. Jordan Mason, he was working he was working in the backfield. The 49ers had him run a route going towards the sideline. Mason easily beat Ezekiel Turner, was able to get the ball. And then near the sideline, Turner pushes him out of bounds. Mason took exception to the hit. Seemed like he felt that he was pushed late, and so he came back and he retaliated, shoved Ezekiel Turner back, and that led to a little bit of a scuffle. We haven't really gotten too many scuffles overall thus far in camp. That one was probably our second one that we've seen between Mason and Turner. Mason was essentially just pulled out of the play. You saw him later in the day. You go forward on the very next play. I thought Robert Beal did a good job. He got a sack After the sack, Brandon Allen hit Jawan Jennings on a pretty deep, an intermediate level crosser. And as you can tell with the first one, sacks are going to be a bit of a theme, early or overall in practice today. I thought the defensive line did a good job. It was one of my takeaways for Niners Nation. Thought the defensive line did their job today, got to the quarterback, and it was a variety of different people. Robert Beal, though, got the first set of love here. He got around the corner, playing at defensive end, was able to get a sack there, working on the left side. Then going Austin Bryan, actually, he got a sack on the next set of plays with the threes, but I want to go back to the ones because this is where the fireworks start. Like I mentioned, Brock Purdy, a little bit of a slow start, had the interception, had a short pass, had the interception, so not too much throwing. Then starts to pick it up, good protection, hit George Kittle, and then quickly hits Christian McCaffrey. He's starting to, ramp things up now. This came his best series of the day. 11 on 11's his first ball. He's looking for Deebo Samuel. Samuel he's run a lot of go routes. The routes that Ayuk usually runs, Samuel's kind of sometimes taken over that role. He's run them. Hasn't had much success with the deep pass so far. We had one the other day that was a pretty big deep ball, and that was kind of, that was a major one. And that one worked in Deebo's favor. That one worked in the defense's favor so far. Deebo's had one in his favor. Excuse me for the word mess up. But now, you're starting to see there's a bit of a battle going on. Offense winning a few, defense winning a few. And so we'll see how that ultimately evens out. But on this play, Samuel was able to slightly beat Deontay Lenore. Brock Purdy put it in the bucket. Great throw. This one probably went for, the normal 30 yards or so. But this one was a good throw. Jair Brown was the safety. He was coming over to help you. You need this ball in front of Samuel on the outside, and that's where Brock Purdy put it. A great pass. Starts to cook here. Then on the very next play, found Ricky Pearsall. It was off coverage, and Pearsall just ran a quick slant. You're able to get a good gain there. On the following play, Purdy found Chris Conley deep for a touchdown. This one was a good play, and I guess a mishap on the defense. Essentially, the offense were running verticals, threatening the safety. George Odom, he bit on one of the routes, allows Chris Conley to beat him, and essentially Conley, obviously with his speed, he's able to fly. Purdy finds him deep, and this one ended up being a touchdown, so it would have been over 50 yards on the completion. So ultimately, a really good start there, or a really good kind of rebound after Purdy's first interception. A good set of plays over there. We move forward. Let's go to Purdy's next set of throws. On the first play of that drive, McCaffrey, he had a run stuffed. This was an interesting sequence of plays for the 49ers. It wasn't move the ball, but the 49ers were trying like 1st and 20 situations. They had one run or one different play, and then they went to 1st and 20 and saw what the offense could do from there. So you see a variety of plays that you kind of see. One in its extended length, screen passes, halfback draws, deeper passes, things like that. And so, it started off with Purdy throwing a screen to Deebo Samuel, though this one was stuffed on 1st and 20. Fred Warner was there. Leonard Floyd, he had gotten out there. Not much to gain here on the first play. Jordan Mason then had a good run on 2nd and 20 on a halfback draw to the left side. Gets about 8 to 10 yards there. Then on 3rd down, Leonard Floyd, he had a very successful day. He comes across the edge. Didn't see exactly who he beat, but he came across the edge. Believe it was against Jalen Moore. And then Javon Hargrave came up the middle. Both of them converged, ended up sacking Brock Purdy on 3rd down. That ends the drive. You go to the twos. Or I guess the 49ers went twos, then the ones, then the threes. But with the twos, it wasn't too much success either. Brandon Allen, his first pass was aimed for Ricky Pearsall, a corner post. Pearsall was working against Renardo Green. So, it was a pretty interesting play. Pearsall ultimately slipped while running the corner post. This ball ends up being incomplete. On 2nd and 20, Allen's looking for Trent Taylor, but this ball he throws high. Taylor, obviously a shorter receiver. Taylor, though, still got the ball. He high pointed it, got it near the seam area for 10 yards. And so this ends up going from 2nd and 20 to about 3rd and 8. And then 3rd down, Brandon Allen, he's looking for Ronnie Bell on a short crosser. He threw the ball wide, probably wouldn't have gotten the first down anyway. So advantage defense for the first 2 sessions of this move the ball period, or special version of move the ball. With the threes, Josh Dobbs got the first throw. He connected with, he essentially checked down to Cody Schrader on first down. That gets about 8 to 10 yards. That leads to a Cody Schrader run. Didn't get too much. Ends up being 3rd and 8 for Josh Dobbs. And on 3rd down, he throws an incompletion. Was looking for Malik Turner. A lot of traffic, though, over the middle. Taylor Hawkins made the hit and recorded a PBU. And so, defense was doing good here in the session. Again, it's favoring the defense. You have to go 20 yards rather than the 10, but a good job by the defense. Back to normal one-on-ones, back to normal 11-on-11s. Here's where Brock Purdy's second interception came. And this one is one that I'd probably put on the quarterback. Got good pressure coming, but Purdy, he dropped back. He was looking to the left side for Deebo Samuel on the sidelines. But this one he just didn't see. At least it looked like he didn't see Jair Brown. Jair Brown, though, he was there lurking, easily picked off the pass, jumps in front of Deebo Samuel on the sideline. Just seemed like a ball that was a little too crowded. You had time to throw the ball. He was looking at his first read. Not the best decision here from Brock Purdy. Probably one of his lone bad throws I'd consider of the day. Brown, though, he picked this off. Another good play. And you're starting to see him show his instincts. The first one, he was in a good place at the right place at the right time. This one, though, instinctual. You're seeing Brown do pretty well when it comes to coverage near the sidelines. Yeah, sometimes, he's maybe a step late or something like that, but he's converging on those plays to the sideline pretty well. Good short area burst, but more importantly, good instincts, which is what the 49ers want from their safeties. So a good job from Jair Brown, who obviously was a standout of the day. On Purdy's next throw, you face pressure again. Leonard Floyd beat Colton McKivitz. This was 2 plays in a row, actually, that Floyd had beaten McKivitz on the interception. It was the same situation. Here he beat him. Purdy got the ball off, though, just a dump off to Christian McCaffrey. And then he found George Kittle. Kittle high pointed a ball, 10 yards. That was Purdy's kind of reps. We move forward. This now, after that came another move the ball period, but this was a legit move the ball period. And so let's go to there. Let's talk about the move the ball session. The 49ers had a really extended move the ball session here. They had a lot of different opportunities for both the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s. The 2s started things off, which is a little weird, but the 2s started things off. So I'm just going to go play by play, tell you kind of how the drive went and how it ultimately ended. With the 2s, it was Brandon Allen. Allen started the drive with a quick slant to Ricky Pearsall, off coverage from Renardo Green. You get about 7 yards on the play. Then he found Jordan Mason in the flat. That got you the first down. It was a shorter, just a short play, but enough to move the chains. Mason got the next handoff, but was stuffed, only really 1 yard on that play. So that led Brandon Allen, that is, to throw a screen to Ronnie Bell. This one was a big play. He got a first down on 2nd and 9 off a screen. There was great blocking, a good block from the backfield. And that allowed Ronnie, just cleared the space for Ronnie Bell. He was able to get a good gain off of this one. And so you've already seen 2 big first downs. The 49ers start, I believe, at around the 40. And so there's not too much space that you need to go to the end zone, but you're getting a couple of first downs now here. And then on 1st and 10, it was a good play action. I like the design of this play. Good play action play, but nobody was open, so Brandon Allen scrambled. Got about 4 yards on that one. On 2nd and 6, looked for Trent Taylor in the flat, but the ball was off target, so incomplete. Then you have 3rd and 6. Allen, once again, looking to target Trent Taylor over the middle. Ball was behind him. Could have been caught and would have been a solid gain had he put it on target, but that one ends up incomplete. So on 4th and 6, send out the field goal unit. Jake Moody, 53-yard field goal. He nails it. That takes you to the first team offense, who went second today. Brock Purdy out there. First down, 1st and 10. His first ball, it's a ball to Deebo Samuel in the flat. And so, Deebo Samuel does Deebo Samuel things. He was able to get a first down just straight off that play. He was able to work his way with yards after the catch. Good job from him. First down. Samuel got the next touch as well, an end around, got about, I'd say, a 7 yards on the play, led to a 2nd and 3, where Christian McCaffrey got a touch, short gain, only 2 yards, 3rd and 1. And then on this one, yeah, so 3rd and 1, like I said, it's a drop back. Brock Purdy, he scrambles, he's looking to throw the ball away. He ends up throwing it away. 3rd and 1, it's a play where you're looking quickly, and if not, you got to just throw it away to preserve the down. That's what Brock Purdy did. Ultimately, as he was scrambling to his left, though, there was a holding penalty called. So that's the unfortunate part. On 3rd and 1, though, now going to 4th and 1, 49ers run the football with Jordan Mason. He pushes forward. You get the first down there on the play. So drive continues. Next play, Jordan Mason, he gets another run. He turns to the right. He goes to the right side this time, gets a healthy good amount of yards, 5 yards on the play, leading to a 2nd and 5. On this play, final play of the drive, Brock Purdy looking to throw a go route. Maybe they knew that this was the last play of the drive, and that's why you tested a little deep, but close enough to the red zone. Brock Purdy threw a go route to Deebo Samuel. Isaac Yiadom, though, was all over him. No chance for that one to be complete. Samuel, obviously, I thought the ball wasn't too bad, but a little overthrown, and regardless, probably wouldn't have been complete if on target anyway. Samuel, incomplete. So a couple of those deep ball struggles there at the end, but still solid drive overall. The 49ers move into opponent territory, get a good amount of yards. That's the end for the ones. Goes to the threes now. Josh Dobbs, he gets the run with the threes here. His first play, quick out to Frank Darby. It was just a bevy of out routes on this one. You had the tight end going an out route, the receiver going an out route, through. It's like a high to low read, a half field read. Dobbs threw to the high, which was Frank Darby, gets a first down. Next play, Cody Schrader, he has a good run to the across the middle, gets about 7 yards in the carry. So you set up 2nd and 3, where they gave the ball to Schrader again. He got stuffed here on 3rd and 3. Bring in Patrick Taylor. On 3rd and 3, he gets the handoff, but it's short, ends up being 4th and inches, and then the 49ers, rather than run the football for a 3rd time, go play action here. And Dobbs, it's a nice, good play action. A lot of the defense crashed on the run, and so Dobbs is able to scramble to his left, or roll to his left after faking the play, and then he ends up finding Jake Tonjes, the tight end, for a solid gain over the middle for a first down. Enough. You then have a first down here at the opponent 34-yard line. They got one more play, and it ultimately would have been a sack. Dobbs threw the ball away, but Austin Bryant was there on the play. Would have been a sack if they cared about counting it. That led to another field goal attempt from Jake Moody, 53 yards again. Nailed it again. That was kind of the vibe from Jake Moody. He ultimately went 4 for 4 from the day. Multiple makes over 50 yards, including the ones on these 2 drives. We go back to the ones. Purdy, his first throw, he's starting to cook up a connection here to Chris Conley. Conley was working on Lenore, ran a bit of a dig route, I guess. It's one of those in-breaking routes that the 49ers specialize on around the 15-yard marker. And Purdy, good ball. Lenore was really all over him. Just a good catch from Conley to move the chains on first down. Then 1st and 10, you're lined up at the opponent 47-yard line. Christian McCaffrey, he has a nice physical run. You get about 5 yards on a play that probably shouldn't have gotten 5 yards. So good job there from McCaffrey to move the chains then on 2nd and 5. Purdy, he hit Deebo Samuel in the flat. Big amount of yak here. You go from the 42 to the 24, an 18-yard gain, and you end up getting a first down on the opponent 24. And then on the following play, oh, not bad. Purdy, he ends up looking for Deebo Samuel on a slant. Samuel's able to get it. This one was a nice play from Purdy. Initially, on the initial outlook, nobody was open on the play. He was able to step up, extend the play, scramble a little forward, hit Deebo Samuel on a slant, but that ultimately ended up being a penalty on the offense, so it moved it back. This was a little bit of a weird situation. So you had 1st and 10. They moved it back 5 yards, but they also burned it down. So it was expected to be 2nd and 15. Then came a false start. So it went from 2nd and 15 to 2nd and 20. And then so because of how far back they moved, they reset. and had the ball back where it was initially for a 1st and 10. Purdy then had one of his best throws of the day. This one was a back shoulder throw to Juwan Jennings. Jennings being covered by Isaac Yadam. Yadam had close coverage, but Jennings was able to understand the back shoulder nature of it. He had a good route. Purdy put it on the money, and this one ended up getting the 49ers from the 22 to the 5-yard line. So a good gain. You have 1st and goal here. 1st down, Purdy looking for Juwan Jennings, but the timing was just completely off. Jennings didn't even have his head turned around. Ball was a little behind, incomplete there on an out route. That led to a run for Jordan Mason. You get 2 yards to set up 3rd and goal at the 3, and then a sack. Jordan Elliott worked up against Aaron Banks. He ultimately got the sack there. A good play from Elliott overall. You go to the 2s. Patrick Taylor, he was the running back here. He got the first run, got a short run for 4 yards on 1st and 10. Then came an out route to Ronnie Bell. Bell was covered here by Samuel Womack, but ultimately wasn't enough. Good catch, 1st down for the 49ers offense. This one ended up being at the 43-yard line. So you got 1st and 10 at the 43. Cody Schrader comes in. He gets another 4-yard gain to the left side. You set up 2nd and 6. Incompletion then for Brandon Allen. He was looking for Frank Darby, threw the ball high. It was over the middle. He also faced pressure on this one. Alex Barrett, he was the guy who had beaten Brandon Parker, I believe. Didn't see the offensive lineman. Thought it was Parker. But ultimately, you go from 2nd and 6 to 3rd and 6. So a little bit more of a leverage situation here and move the ball. Allen throws another incompletion. This one's looking for Danny Gray on the sideline, but well contested. Renardo Green on the play. He breaks the pass up. 3rd and 6 becomes 4th and 6. And then Allen, he's going to look to extend the play. And this one was honestly his best throw of the day, or one of at least. He extended the play on 4th and 6, rolled to his right, and he found Braden Willis for a diving catch about 15 to 20 yards downfield. It was a great play from Allen. He ended up hitting, like I said, Braden Willis. Willis found himself open. Good job. That moved the chains there on 4th and 6. But the 49ers ended practice. Believe it was a 43-yard field goal from Jake Moody to end practice. So as you can tell, quite a busy day. You had a lot of just regular 11-on-11 sessions. The 49ers sprinkled in some new drills with, some plays with longer distances, and then the move the ball session where everybody kind of got a touch at the end. So let's go through some of the takeaways. Let's start off on the offensive side. Let's go through some of the takeaways. I thought, starting with Brock Purdy real quick, thought he had a good day. I know he had the interception, a couple of sacks, but it was not like yesterday where a lot of the sacks were coverage sacks. And so, again, in practice, you don't necessarily blame coverage sacks in fitting the ball into tight windows when you're trying to test things as much. But today, thought he had a good day. Tried out the deep ball. You saw some success with it. He had a couple of plays where he was kind of cooking. Overall, even with the 2 interceptions, one of which it was his fault. The other, you can argue with semantics based on how practice is. I thought it was a solid day. Run game, you're starting to see where the run game kind of materializes. The run game is always looking good, but you get even on the plays that are a little iffy, you're getting 4 yards. You're getting 3 to 4 yards. In general, the run game, though, you're seeing some of these 6-7 yard gains consistently from the top 3 running backs. Even Cody Schrader's in there trying to get more reps. He's looking good, better and better as training camp continues. So there's a lot in the run game to really like. That's probably going to be one of the strongest parts of the team this year, should they stay healthy, knock on wood. But this is a team where the run game is kind of starting to cook. Receivers, Ricky Pearsall got, he's starting to get a little more opportunity, obviously, last 2 days. And it's up and down in the sense that you're still looking to wait and see against the top cornerbacks. Pearsall had a route today, that first pick where he was just jammed by Deommodore Lenoir. At least that's what it seemed like. Had another route against Renardo Green where he slipped. He works well in off coverage. He's really good with his movements, with his understanding of footwork, where he doesn't take any extra steps on routes. That's the good part, and that's why he flourishes against zone or off coverage. And man as well, he's able to do well, but the question is always going to be how he's going to be against physical corners and how quickly he can get out of breaks at the top of the stem. Once we see the answers for that, we'll have a better idea on who Pearsall ultimately will be as a pro. Liked his day yesterday. He had a couple of catches today. Thought it was up and down overall for him. Elsewhere at receiver, you see a couple of different guys that are starting to like break out, I guess, or have these one-off days where they've been really good. Ronnie Bell had one of them. I thought Pearsall had a solid day the other day. Deebo Samuel's getting a good amount of touches and things like that, but you're starting to see somewhat of a trend. Trent Taylor's the guy who I wrote about yesterday. I thought Taylor, he's been so far pretty good at practice. That's the funny part. I think he's been pretty good, and everyone knows what Taylor's limitations are and things like that. He's a slot only guy. He also, you wonder about the blocking given his size. He's bounced around a couple of teams, but he has familiarity with the offense, and so that's at least fueling competition because he's able to go out there, kind of do his part. There aren't also too many slot guys the Niners are playing right now because Jacob Cowing is out with a hamstring injury. That allows a guy like Trent Taylor to get some more reps, both at punt returner and at receiver. Offensive line, though, that's a group I want to talk about. There was a lot of mixing and matching, as there has been with camp with the offensive line. You obviously had Jalen Moore at left guard. Aaron Banks returned, and he was actually in practice today. Banks at left guard, Jalen Moore at left tackle. Jake Brendel took almost all of the reps with the first team at center. If he had taken some time off, it was probably due to just resting in general. Dominic Puny, though, that's the big story. With John Feliciano back, with Spencer Burford not back, but he's practicing on the side, you have some competition available for the right guard spot. Was there going to be any changes? Does Puny cede some of the reps to one of the veterans? And the answer is no. Dominic Puny seems right now like he is kind of firm. He has a firm grasp on that spot, at right guard. And so that's a good sign for the 49ers ultimately. Real quick, I do want to give a shout out to my guy 49ers Throwback. As for tight end depth, Vince, I'm going to talk about that sooner than later. Just stay tuned. But as I was saying, Dominic Puny right now is seeming on the trend to start week 1, which is a good sign for the 49ers, and that could change a couple of things. But today, across the offensive line, I saw a couple of different alignments. You're still seeing a competition, it seems like, between Nick Zakelj and Ben Bartch. Both saw time at center and left guard today. Bartch even saw time at right guard, and so there is a competition there. I'm curious to see how it unfolds. Zakelj got a lot of 2 reps today. Bartch as well. Bartch has been in and out of team drills for whatever reason. And so you're starting to see a little bit of a battle there, just like there is a battle at swing tackle between Chris Hubbard and Brandon Parker right now. At least that's how it kind of looks. And so, like I said, there's a lot of pieces moving around with the offensive line right now. Feeling good about Dominic Puny. Wonder what they do when they get Burford back. Feliciano, he returned to practice today. He was out in uniform yesterday. Didn't practice in team drills though. He saw a majority of time at right guard or at center. I thought it was a lot of center today with the second team offense. Believe he got 1 or 2 series with the first team when he was out there at center, but a lot of mixing up at center today between him, Jake Brendel, and also either Nick Zakelj, Ben Bartch, or even some Drake Nugent with the lower teams. Aaron Banks, he returned to practice. He had been dealing with back spasms. It seemed like he was somewhat limited because Nick Zakelj or Ben Bartch were in there at left guard for a couple of reps as well, or a couple of series. And so, like I said, a lot of mixing and matching. You're trying to see what the best fit is ultimately. And so the offensive line right now, still a couple of questions. The main one, though, that you're kind of seeing is that Dominic Puny right now, he's got the stranglehold on that right guard spot. Let's talk about the tight ends, though. How's the tight end depth doing so far? I said it yesterday. I honestly would say if there's one group that I'd kind of be a little disappointed in so far, it's the tight ends, just because every other group, there's some sort of promise, in there, or something to look forward to, something to be excited about, something that you can genuinely take away so far from the first 9 practices of training camp. At tight end, though, it just still feels open, and it feels a little more negative than positive just because Cameron Latu has struggled a little bit. He did not practice today. He was actually not in uniform. He was at practice, but not in uniform. He was, on the sidelines. And so I don't know, because Cam Latu had a struggling day to end yesterday. He had kind of indirectly contributed to a false start, had a fumble, and that was 2 plays after he caught a pass. So it's up and down with Cameron Latu. We'll see how he ultimately goes. I thought Braden Willis continues to do well, though. He's the main thing for him is improving as a blocker. He had a really nice block yesterday, one in the backfield today. If he can improve in that realm, it seems hard for the 49ers to not put him on the field, just given he's got good receiving skills. He showed it off today, had a pretty deep ball caught, with the backups, I believe. And so there are a couple of things with Braden Willis. Eric Sober right now, he seems like on the fast track to be the tight end 2, with Logan Thomas handling a hamstring injury. So a lot of different questions overall with the tight ends. Leo points out with Ayuk not practicing, and from what I'm hearing about the other guys, not feeling all that confident in the wide receivers to beat man coverage on 3rd and 7. That's a good question, just because there hasn't been that much separation overall. You're talking about guys like Deebo Samuel and Jawan Jennings. Well, they're not separators, And so who's going to be that third receiver maybe if Brandon Ayuk, is not out there? I'm not sure. Just because you want separators, but you also have a lot of guys who are better fits, on the outside. And you want Jennings probably in the slot. And so it's a lot of questions. Ultimately, I think the Ayuk thing gets done. There's a lot of buzz both ways. I wouldn't be surprised right now if it kind of goes either way. But I think what the training camp has shown is you need that guy like Ayuk, just that presence, on the outside of the field. So curious to see if they can kind of get some action working throughout the weekend to get them practicing sooner than later. But joint practices are coming up soon, and so that's something that you're also focusing a part of. Brandon Ayuk, though, obviously, right now, that's the kind of the headline of the 49ers right now, just because of the uncertainty around the situation. Let's go to the defense. I thought the defense did well today. When you talk about the defense, I have to start with the defensive line, just because I thought they did, I thought that they were one of the bigger catalysts for success on Saturday. Nick Bosa, there was that one day where he had gotten beaten or he had lost some one-on-one reps to Colton McKivitz and Jalen Moore. Thought that was funny. Bosa did well today. I mean, he did his part and kind of in the one-on-ones. He beat Colton McKivitz really easily with the spin move. And then in 11s, he contributed to a sack. He's doing his part. And I think Nick Bosa, he looks fine out there. I think he's doing all right. Again, hard to test him without having him be tested against some of the top offensive linemen in the league, but not too worried there. Elsewhere, Javon Hargrave had a sack. Jordan Elliott had multiple sacks. Austin Bryant had a sack. Robert Beal had a sack. And then Leonard Floyd had multiple. He was out in the backfield a couple of times. When you look at the collection of guys that had sacks, and these were also not covered sacks, that's the big thing. It's actual pressure sacks, which are more important because the 49ers aren't going to be prone to that many cover sacks, it feels like, this year, just because Purdy has a good ability to extend plays and, get the ball out quick and things like that. And so when you're getting all of these sacks, it's a good sign. And it's not all against Purdy. It's second and third team as well. But to me, right now, defensive line or that group, it seemed like they had a good day today. Shout out especially to Leonard Floyd, who was wreaking havoc. Beat Colton McKivitz a couple of times in a row in 11-on-11s. And so a solid day for that group on the defense. At linebacker, there's not too much of a change. DFF is in there. Devondre Campbell's in there with the first group. Fred Warner looks as special as always. He looks like he's got energy, energy for days. He's chilling. He's doing his part. So not too much to take away from the linebackers. The young guys, they're doing well. Apart from kind of getting cooked, I guess, by CMC. In the one-on-ones, CMC usually makes do of both guys, D. Winters and Jalen Graham, but they are doing well. Winters had a good stop as well in the run game today. You're excited to see their development. At cornerback, Renardo Green is kind of the guy who I focus a lot on, just because a lot of the other the top spots right now with Lenore, Charvarius Ward, they obviously are set. Isaac Yiadom has gotten all the run really with the ones on the outside. So he's kind of there. And so that's where the focus kind of comes on Renardo Green. What are the 49ers planning to do with him? What's their plan? What the position is and things like that. Because today he lined up a lot on the outside. And it was the opposite side from that he lined up on when he was on the outside the other day. He was taking in the role where Lenore kind of usually plays today with the second team defense. So he had a lot of reps on the outside, whereas he's been primarily been used in the nickel so far in camp and thus far. And so I don't know necessarily what position they envision for him in the future. He has the versatility to play both. He showed that at Florida State. And I think he has the traits to play on the outside. It's just, will they ultimately see that as the best role for a guy like, for a guy like the rookie. Because right now, for Renardo Green, it's all about the learning process, especially because you have some stability with Yadam there. And so this year is about finding out where the best fit is for him and seeing when he can make a contribution. Elsewhere at corner, though, there's a good battle going on. Ambry Thomas, Rocky Sin. No Daryl Luter today, so he was out. But Ambry Thomas, Rocky Sin, guys like that, they're competing right now for what could be that final spot, on the roster, or at least at the position on the roster. And so there's a good amount of competition, a good amount of takeaways there. I think this is one of the deepest rooms that we have overall. I think the cornerback group is, pretty solid. And so this is a group I'm excited for. Renardo Green's a guy to watch for sure. Lenore as well. Lenore's kind of, he's quietly put together a really strong camp. One of the top guys overall. One of the top guys in terms of on the defense right now. He feels like one of the top guys. And this is a good thing. He's getting paid next offseason. He wants the best year possible. Seems like he'll play primarily in the nickel for now. But I thought Lenore had multiple good days. You have him have also a lot of good reps on the outside as well as the nickel, going up against some of the top guys for the Niners as well. Papa J says this is probably one of the best rookie classes I've seen in a long time for the 49ers. I'm not gonna go too far yet just because they haven't played a snap, but it seems like right now you're going to have a couple of contributors, for the 49ers. Dominic Puny right now could start, at right guard. And I think the big thing is you had a first-round pick. You were able to have a second-round pick for the first time in a while after the couple of trades that you've made in the past. So if you're talking about recent memory, yeah, this one seems pretty strong on paper. We'll see if that can translate to the field. Kenny says, I think it's Floyd is better than last year because he was not great. Struggled towards the end of the season, I think. But durability, that's the big thing with Leonard Floyd. And he's a good pass rusher. He had a good day today. It's just, can he be consistent? Can he be a good threat with so many other guys on the 49ers defensive line? And how do those results ultimately seek out? But I thought Leonard Floyd had a good day today. You are right. He did struggle towards specifically the second half of the season. Didn't really have that much sack production overall. But he's a good player. We'll see how he can play in a different system with a lot of talent with the Niners. I think that's going to be all for me today. I broke down the team periods, the move the ball. So if you just want to kind of a breakdown of what exactly happened play to play on practice, make sure you go check out that portion at the beginning. Broke down all the position groups, kind of my initial thoughts right now, offense and defense. So that's kind of going to do it for me. Thank you guys all for tuning in, though. I always appreciate the support, the questions, everyone in the chat that does what they do. Thank you guys so much for your questions, your support, and we'll be back. Not tomorrow, maybe not Monday, we'll see, but definitely Tuesday with another video. Please.